It's an all-out battle for New York as the Democratic and Republican presidential candidates try to lock up the delegates they need to secure their party's nomination. On the Democratic front, Hillary Clinton is leading Bernie Sanders by 10 points in the Empire State. Both candidates have been pulling out all the stops to try and shore up voter support. The fight has gotten more personal than expected between the two Democrats. In an interview with Charlie Rose, Sanders explained his comment that Clinton was unqualified to be president was a response to her campaign questioning his qualifications. Sanders' campaign manager, Jeff Weaver, spoke with our Josh Elliott earlier today about that interview and the personal attacks in the campaign.
I don't think any apology is due, frankly. Look, Bernie Sanders has run an issue-oriented campaign from the beginning of this campaign. There are sharp contrasts between these candidates on income inequality, on a corrupt campaign finance system, on a whole host of issues, right? And we came into New York, and they were pretty clear, the Clinton campaign. In fact, CNN reported it, others reported it, that they were going to go hard negative on Senator Sanders. They were going to try to disqualify him, defeat him, and then worry about reuniting the party later. So I think the message that the senator wanted to send to the Clinton people is, if you want to play that kind of politics, we can play that kind of politics. But if you want to go on the high road, we can go on the high road.
But he was also saying, essentially, she started it.
Well, she did start it. Well, that's true.
But it seems to echo what we've heard in the Republican race, something that Senator Sanders has been critical of in the past. It doesn't seem, though, a reason to echo such a statement in response. Something, again, he seemed to acknowledge with Charlie. Is there any regret?
Well, I don't think there's regret, because if you looked at the tone of the Clinton campaign over the last day or so, they have pulled back substantially, because when you stand up to that kind of attack, people generally pull back. And that's, you know, if we can do that, if we can keep them talking about real issues and not their sort of smears, that would be better.
Ken Vogel is a reporter for Politico. He joins us now from Washington. Ken, are you surprised that the Democrats have gotten into a sort of tit-for-tat in the campaign?
Not really, Elaine. Let's not forget this campaign has been going on for a long time, a lot longer than most people thought that it would. The candidates, their advisors, they're all tired. They're getting testy. Hillary Clinton told our own Glenn Thrush in a podcast last week that she suggested that she was sort of sick of this, campaign, and actually compared it unfavorably to 2008, saying that in 2008 it didn't get this nasty. In fact, 2008 got precisely this nasty, and maybe more precisely because of the same situation where you had a front runner. In that case, it was Barack Obama, who was facing a challenger. In that case, it was Hillary Clinton, who refused to concede, even though the math suggested that that the front runner was going to lock it up. Also, it's not surprising because we're in the run-up to New York, a huge state, really one of Bernie Sanders' last chances to make a serious dent in her delegate lead, or a chance for her to kind of pull away. So desperate times, desperate measures from the Sanders campaign.
Yeah, Ken, on that point, Clinton has said repeatedly that she hopes to lock up the nomination after New York and Pennsylvania. But you look at what Bernie Sanders has done here in the recent primaries, he's done pretty well. So how realistic is it that she's going to lock things up?
Not realistic at all. In fact, in addition to him doing very well and winning a string of contests, even if he loses New York and Pennsylvania, he's raising so much money. He outraised her by $15 million in March, and he's doing it in a way that doesn't cost a lot or take a lot of time for him to do it. There's no real incentive for him to drop out. He's driving his message. He's getting attention to the issues that he wants to focus on. He's forced Hillary Clinton to tack to the left on some of these issues. So he has made an impact, and I don't see any reason for him to drop out. Really, he could go all the way through the last contest in June.
Well, it's interesting. Hillary Clinton had some choice words for the Republican candidates running for president, saying they live in a fantasy world. Let's play some of that.
I know that they live in that world of fantasy and hope because they've got a mess on their hands on the Republican side. That is not going to happen. There is not even the remotest chance that it's going to happen. We're moving forward. The Republicans' fondest wishes will not be fulfilled.
All right, Ken, what do you make of her remarks?
Well, certainly there is concern, both in her camp and in Sanders' camp and in the offices of Democratic National Committee officials here in Washington, that this testy turn of the Democratic primary campaign could potentially hurt the party and the party's ability to pivot to the Republicans in the general election. They want to get this, the Hillary Clinton people, certainly Democratic National Committee folks, want to get this primary over with, or at least to sort of tamp down some of the rhetoric so that they aren't giving sound bites to Republicans that could be used against them in November. And we certainly could expect for whoever the Republican nominee is to play back some of that Bernie Sanders sound about Hillary Clinton being unqualified. So they want this to be over and they want to turn to the Republican side.